Don, welcome back to the show. We're getting to do it here in sunny Glasgow.
Yes, indeed. The beautiful hometown.
And the demand has been high. You and I trained the other night, posted an Instagram story that we were training and that there was a pod coming up, and the DMs were lighting up because when we get together, we're talking about an asset that people get really excited about.
Yes, whether we like it or not, because, well, we'll get into it, but the market's been a bit crazy. So whether they like it and chat about it for the right reasons, let's find out.
We'll wait and see. Of course. And you know, I like my stats and my figures. And the last time we recorded, it was December 2023. We were sat in Dubai in the Podster studio, me, you, Deck, and we were talking about Bitcoin picking up again. And it really has picked up because that month closed at $42K. We're talking, of course.
Yes, always.
And now, even though we've had a little bit of a dip recently, we're more than double that, and we've been even higher than that before as well. So the overall picture from when we last spoke has been really bullish.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we always say. We always come up with our term as patience pays. So I may say that a few times on this podcast, please bear with me. But yeah, look, we knew it was going to happen. It was inevitable. The patience was there, and it proved itself. It has come down a little bit. It's at the time of recording, it's about $90,000. But yeah, it has been a lot higher the past kind of month or so, over 100, 105, 108. You know, so it's been a bit chaotic. But going back to the sunny days of Dubai at 42K, that's nuts to think about. But
well, the return is insane, and that's something that gets lost because you and I were texting December 24. And saying that Bitcoin had just hit a new all-time high, and you were laughing at how calm the overall mood was at that point.
Yeah, it was a strange one, and again, I'm going to mention that a few times as well because the market is super strange just now. I briefly mentioned that to you before we started recording. It's not like it's ever been. I've been here since 2017 and seen it all, or I thought I'd seen it all, until the past, well, literally since November. It's been great, obviously, because the prices went up to its new all-time high and whatnot, and there's been a new president and whatnot. But yeah, it's been a very strange one. That's the only way I can word it in terms of the market. But yeah, when we last spoke about the new all-time high, no one seemed to care, and I don't really know why. It's over 100K at the time, never done it before. It was a big psychological number that it couldn't meet in 2021. It got there a few years later, and no one really seemed to notice or care.
I think it was more contained than previously. So I think there was more fuss when it did like 75, 80K than there was when it hit 100, which in the right circles we know is absolutely bonkers because, like you say, huge psychological number, real proof of concept for the naysayers who, when we were down at 16, 17, 18 in early 2023, everyone was like, oh, it's finished again. But you guys were very much saying the bottom's in, stay calm, patience pays. And then when it comes back round, we didn't have the same level of euphoria that you might expect.
It is strange, of course, like I said. It's just, I believe it's something that I've noticed recently anyways. People tend to speak more when it's down or it's in the red or it's low and it's negative. And people seem to speak less, evidently, when it's at all-time highs or it's positive or it's green or whatever it may be. And I don't know if that's because the emotions that come with it. And what I mean by that is it's up at 100K one day and it's back to 94K the next day. So people are thinking, yeah, cool, it's over 100K, but is it going to last? Is this the end? So I don't know if that's what it is, if it's a triggering point for people thinking, right, it's over. We've hit that 100K number. We're done. I don't know. It's hard to put yourself in that position of people or how they think when you're so programmed differently.
That's right, because you guys have opted out from the hysteria for such a long time. And one of the reasons that you've had such a popular membership group and you've got so popular with your one-to-one clients is that you help them to stay the course when it's choppy waters. And sometimes you expect the bull run, which I firmly believe we're in the midst of, to be better times. But some of the narrative during the bull run has still been a little bit confused, and that's why we're seeing these huge fluctuations.
Yeah, you're seeing news articles, especially now that Trump's in. The world is just going mad for that in general, just the fact that Trump's back in charge. But yeah, again, it's such a hard way to, or it's a hard thing to pinpoint because you and I, you're much the same as me. You know, patience pays, what's coming, what we can get. So the day-to-day market conditions or the day-to-day news doesn't really phase us as much. Obviously, experience comes with that, and that's probably a massive portion of it, right? But that's, again, where we step in. That's kind of our whole point, is to be that experience, to be that voice of reason. And look, behind closed doors, sometimes I'm like, oof, right, hang on a minute. This is a bit what's going on in this market. As I said, it's the strangest market I've seen in forever. So there is days I'm waking up thinking, right, okay, hang on a minute. Let's just collect my thoughts before I go out and speak to members or speak to anyone regarding crypto, because you need to collect all of the information, which is changing every minute, it seems, at the moment.
Do you think there's been times in this market where crypto's been separate from Bitcoin?
A little bit now, I would say, purely because Trump's reserve and people are focusing on, I mean, he's announced that it's going to be altcoins as well, but the people who are Bitcoin maxis hate the fact that altcoins are even a thing or have been mentioned by the president or anything. So there has been a lot more speak of pushing a Bitcoin reserve or Bitcoin, as it always sort of has been. When you're a Bitcoin maxi or a Bitcoin maximalist, you are diehard. You care about nothing more than Bitcoin, no matter what. You don't care about price fluctuations, anything. It's just Bitcoin is the one. They seem to speak the loudest. The old saying is the cheapest seats speak the loudest. But in this sense, it's a bit different because we all love Bitcoin. I'm a big altcoin holder and prefer altcoins, but Bitcoin's like the godfather. Like,
you've always said it's the daddy.
Yeah, respect where respect is due. But again, when you flip it, it's definitely not the same from the other guys, shall we say.
That's true. The narrative differs. And while I've become more and more inclined to see the future of Bitcoin is incredibly important, I see the altcoins as incredibly important from like an investment opportunity. And I think I would be naive to neglect those from that perspective.
100%. And that's, again, if you are in this for investment, which most people are, that's not joke around, then you're obviously going to get more gains. I mean, no financial advice, as we all know, right? But based on past performance, you get better percentage gains in an altcoin than you would in Bitcoin. So, I mean, look, over the long term, 10, 20, 30 years, maybe Bitcoin would be that preferred asset because it's not going to go anywhere. 95% of these altcoins are probably going to disappear at some point, whether it's the next few years or the next bear run or whatever it may be. Some will stick around, like the likes of Ripple or XRP has been around for a long time, Cardano, all the kind of big shots, they'll still be around. But like I said, 95% will diminish.
I think that's why you guys have got a credibility in the space, because you recognize that there are investment opportunities to take within that, but the ones with a use case that you've mentioned there, XRP, Cardano, even Solano's been talking about being involved in the strategic reserve. These are the ones that you have a longer time horizon on, whereas there's ones where you spot it and you think that could be a winner for us and the members. Let's consider what we might have as a target or a percentage gain in that, rather than being like, oh yeah, that's a great coin or a great project.
100%. And more so recently has been meme coins. Which we'll chat a bit about. It's rude not to, as much as if you go back to previous episodes of our conversations, we don't love the hype of that. But as you're saying, there's positions to take there. If you're looking for a short-term gain, you know it's not going to last potentially longer than 6 hours, 12 hours. But if you're an investor and your whole point is to make more than what you've put in, these coins and still are, I guess, are kind of the hot shots.
I think some of the stuff that happened in Argentina at the weekend, not to time date this one too much, but it's been interesting. A lot of people are saying that's maybe the end of the kind of meme craze that we've seen. Yeah,
and people say that as well with the Trump meme.
And of course, Melania as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. You tend to find something like that to upset the market is what it needs. So back in 2021, we had like Elon Musk, for example. He kind of upset the market by putting Bitcoin in his Twitter bio and talking about Bitcoin. That then drove everyone crazy. And when you look back, that was kind of one of the pinnacle points of where the switch happened. And it was then able to then pump and the altcoins moved and whatnot. Again, more recently, the biggest thing that we've seen has been the upset of the Trump coin. It went to, I don't even know, was it like 70 billion or whatever it was, something ridiculous. And then essentially went to, not zero, but it lost like 80% of its value. So yeah, people are starting to see that as maybe the shifting point.
Yeah, because the story of this bull run so far has been, of course, the meteoric rise of Bitcoin to new all-time highs, but also the alts that have really gone with it, apart from XRP, have been memes. And they're the ones that have had that kind of parabolic, or a crypto term that you boys taught me, face-melting returns.
Yeah. Whether you like it or not, I don't love that space, but as an investor, I love it. So again, it's like I said, if you're in this to make more money than you put in as an investor, you can't deny these hot shots, but they don't last long. evidently we've seen that already. So
What do you think is so attractive about them apart from the percentage returns? For me, maybe it's the speed.
nothing. Well, I guess speed, yeah, but there's nothing that's interesting about them other than the fact that if there's enough people that get behind it, they know it's going to pump. It's player versus player. It's me versus you. Who's first to sell? So that's why I don't like it, because it's a very it's not a true reflection of how I see crypto and how most people see crypto. It's pump and dumps. It's, like I said, player versus player. Who can put more money in? Who can take it out first? Yeah, it's not a great culture, unfortunately or fortunately, but has brought a lot of people and the youth to crypto. So there's a lot of ways of looking at it. It's net positive because it brings more users, more money, and more eyes to crypto. But then in the negative, those guys are probably losing money, losing their mum and dad's money, losing their life savings, and then hating crypto. So
That's so true.
it's not all quite sunshine and rainbows. 9 times out of 10 people are losing money, and the people that are making the money are the influencers that are either creating the coins, whether that's, I'm trying to think, the Hawk Tour one, I know we spoke about that recently. People who have a massive following online can put their name to anything and make their own coin. You can make a CamBro Conversations coin and pump it and then take the money out, and no one can really say anything. They'll hate you, but nothing can get done about it. So it's not a great space coming from the heart, shall we say.
Well, coming from somebody who fundamentally believes in cryptocurrency as the future, that could damage its reputation. But at the same time, it's bringing more eyeballs, and the hope has got to be that somebody that maybe comes into the space with that sort of blind optimism, maybe gets a little bit burnt, doesn't withdraw their hand fully from the stove, but chooses to learn how to handle it more than they have done when they initially got involved.
Well, that's what happened with the Trump meme. Apparently, it was something like, don't quote me on these numbers, but it was something ridiculous, like 150,000 new users created wallets like that day. So it was, honestly, the numbers were insane, and people that have never been in crypto. So that's why I'm saying it's a positive, I think, net positive, because there's more eyes, there's more money, there's more people involved. That's kind of what we want to get the kind of space out there. But again, on the flip side, people were obviously naive to this, and they're losing the money on the pump and dumps. So.
When you're assessing meme coins on a personal basis or on a CG basis, what are you looking for, and what's the thought process?
I'll be honest, there's no real strategy other than, will it go? Does it sound good? Is it funny? Has it got a stupid name? Honestly, some of the coins that you've seen do billions in volume, I wouldn't even want to say the names on a podcast. They're ridiculous. Anything can get memed. The meme culture, I've never really followed the meme culture. I think it came from a kind of gaming world of memes and stuff. I've never really followed that, so I don't truly understand the meme culture.
You're more of a music guy, Don.
Yeah, for sure. And we don't have memes really, and I guess we do now. Memes are the greatest thing ever, right? When you send them on Instagram or TikTok, whatever, to your mates. But in the sense of the raw meme community, where it's like, this frog is like the biggest meme ever, I'm like, I've never seen that before in my life. But like Pepe, that done billions. Even Dogecoin, like all these big memes that are apparently really famous in that culture, which I've got no clue about, seem to run. So yeah, if you're looking to find or pick the best meme, there's no strategy, unfortunately. Let's see what happens. Just throw some money at it and see what happens.
The one that I did see you guys benefit from was Borgie. Now, Let's keep that very separate from Borg, which we're both big fans of from a utility perspective.
Yeah.
But Borgie itself was one that was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, so Borgie, we had spoke to Swissborg a long time ago about meme coins and stuff, and Deck had meetings with the team, and it was always a topic of conversation, but it was never really amounted to anything because they were focused on their utility coin. So fast forward a few months, few years, whatever it may have been, actual just community members started the Borgie token. Didn't really take off. Swissborg weren't really behind it, weren't really noticing it, so nothing really happened with it. But then again, a few months passed, they managed to speak with Swissborg, these same community members, and Swissborg were like, do you know what, let's go with it. We'll get behind it. It sounds like a great idea, sort of thing. And yeah, it just took off. So it was like Borgie 2.0 almost. And it was purely built from the community of Swissborg holders, and it ran to like 64 million, I think it was.
64x was the figure, wasn't it?
In 24 hours. So yeah, 64x in 20, or probably less than that, but yeah, give or take 24 hours.
That's a frightening turnaround time, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, as I was just mentioning to you, me and Dave were flying to Dubai that day, And if our flight wasn't delayed, we would have missed buying it or when it launched, because it launched at like 1:30 and the flight to Dubai is like 1:25, whatever it is. So luckily we were delayed by an hour and we managed to get involved, or else that could have been very
big missed
upsetting.
opportunity.
Yeah, very upsetting.
But that was all about timing, wasn't it? Because you got in at the right time, you exited at the right time, it pumped up and then it plummeted back down.
Yeah.
And the CG Discord were all rubbing their hands in glee and enjoying it. But ultimately that coin wasn't something that they were going to want to ever dabble with again frequently.
Well, not so much. Borgie's slightly different. It's classed as a meme, right? And I just spoke about how memes don't really last much. But because it's a community kind of centric and Swissborg are behind it, it's a bit different. So it's still in that classification of meme coin because it's a dog and it was created by community members. But we're still very much big fans of it. Still hold a lot of it. Didn't sell the whole thing, obviously.
The whole bag.
And most of our Discords still own it as well. So it's not that one was obviously short term was fantastic, right? But it's not in my opinion, a short term thing. This will be always kind of in and around, because the Swissborg team are so kind of in with it now and behind it and love the fact that the community done it. So slightly different, which you'll find again, Dogecoin, meme coin, but it's the largest and it's
That's
around
true.
forever. Pepe again, but then the likes of that Hoktua, that, you know, so there's
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah, there's different kind of clarification or different sections of memes, shall we say.
If the likes of the Trump and Melania coin are perhaps a turning point in this bull market for movement away from meme coins to perhaps other coins, what stage of the market do you feel we're at?
The end is near. So this is something that people fail to realise, and it's why people get burned as well. We found this in 2021. You'll find your people who are not as experienced as you or I or other guys in the Discord, for example, who, when all this thing's kicking off, Trump's launching a coin, they're going to use it as a US reserve, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's it. The bull run started. Let's go. Well, unfortunately, that's the polar opposite. That tends to mark the end, and that the end is near. So, yeah, at the moment in the market, we've been in a bull. I mean, this is the thing. You don't really know when you're in a bull, and I've said this before. You don't know when you're in a bull until a year or two later, when you look back and you go, right, okay, that was the bull market, or that was the end, or whatever it may be. So there's never a today, tomorrow, bull market, bear market. It's just, because prices are up and down so much. So, the end is in sight.
Which I think is contrary to some of the narrative out there. As you say, a lot of people are like, oh, that's us just getting started. This is when the next parabolic move comes. Now, there may still well be another big leg, but I feel if you look at the charts and you see what Bitcoin is mapped as, it's up massively from January 2023 all the way to now. The overall trend is great. Like, if you've been buying at the lows, which most people who listen to CamBro and CG podcasts should have been aware of doing, then you should be hundreds of percentiles up on the lows of the worst parts of the bear market.
100%. But the problem being is people don't listen when they should, and they get involved when there's obviously FOMO and whatnot, and the prices are high. So it goes back to what we were saying earlier about being net positive, but also a negative. It's a net positive because we need retail investors to come in and bring that money and bring that kind of liquidity to the market, right? But the negative to that is they think it's the start of the bull market. So they're cheering for another year or two, and we've probably got another month or two. So it's very, very different.
Do you feel it could be as short as that, Don?
Yeah, so the way the market is just now, to kind of jump into it now, obviously this podcast won't be evergreen, unfortunately, because of the prices change so much, but based on today, we're looking for something to come out of Bitcoin. So big news from Bitcoin, which again, at the point of recording this, there is a massive, I mentioned this to you, a massive crypto summit at the White House happening. So by the time this podcast comes out, it will have happened. We're not in the best of times.
We needed to record when you were in the country. I'm with you.
100%.
We're going to get it out there. The listeners are demanding it. Your general analysis is what they want.
Yeah, which I'll kind of go into what I think is going to happen and what we need to go back to the actual deep dive of the chart. So, like I said, we need something to happen with Bitcoin. That's the be all and end all. Unfortunately, for altcoins to go, we need Bitcoin to go, whether you love it or hate it, right? So the way it is just now, where it's been choppy, like this is the choppiest, I would say, boring kind of market conditions we've ever seen. It's still great because Bitcoin is cruising at 90k and we're calling it boring. It's
90k.
it's insane.
Imagine that when we recorded our first ever podcast in October 2020, Bitcoin was like between like 12 and 16k or something like that. And we're moaning a little bit around 90k.
Yeah, it's
bonkers.
That's what I mean. It's so bizarre. It's such a strange place to be just now. But like I said, what we need is this Bitcoin thing. So what I think is going to happen, my whole thought process with this crypto, I mean, first of all, there's a crypto summit being held by the president of the US in the White House. Like, that alone is bizarre to even say, right? But I believe they're going to announce something very strongly for Bitcoin. I've already mentioned it during the week, or last week, regarding the altcoins they're going to use for the reserve, and then Bitcoin and Ethereum as well, right? But I strongly believe what's going to come out, whether we hear it straight away or over the next few weeks, is it's going to be a big, big push for Bitcoin, which is exactly what we need for the market to then get behind, or everyone to get behind the market again. Bitcoin will then go up, and in my, again, personal opinion, I do think we see another all-time high. And within this, from now until this all-time high, is when altcoins will start to gather the momentum, and that's when you see the parabola of face melting.
I think it's going to be really exciting, and I think the normalization of Bitcoin overall and crypto with it, because we're seeing that there are altcoins that are coming with that, can only be a good thing for the now, but also for the long-term future. So my hope is that if people do get a little bit burnt thinking that this is going to be another year of all-time highs, that at least they've gone through a market cycle so they know what to do next time round. Because I was very much one of those in 2021 when we saw 69,000. I was like, I think it's going to go to 100. The sentiment was there, and then it wasn't. The sentiment's there until it's not.
Yeah, and again, that's, like I said a minute ago, you don't know it's the end until maybe a year or two later when you're like, right, the prices aren't going back. They're not rebounding back as much as you think. So yeah, it's crypto. Welcome to crypto. It's I mean, I deal with it a lot in Discord. You know, people's emotions are all over the place, quite rightly so. And well done to anyone that's still holding on tight, because it's been absolute carnage. But a lot of the times I'm having to kind of put a little word in here and there to help people's emotions of, they think, oh, that's it, it's boring, it's too much, it's stressing out, and it is. It's horrible. Experience brings that. Your first, your second, your third bull market or bear market, whatever it is, brings that. So it is a big experience play. And people will come into this market who's been in it for maybe 6 months to a year. They've joined a Discord group, whether it's ours or someone else's, or they followed a YouTuber, whatever it may be. They think they're experienced because they'll speak to someone at their work who has no clue about Bitcoin, crypto, whatever. So when they're talking about it, they seem like the smartest man in the room. But when you think about experience, you can't buy that experience. You can't buy a bull market experience or a bear market experience. You just need to be in the trenches and just...
There's some lessons you need to learn yourself.
Yeah.
Like the whole like money doesn't buy happiness, or like some particular things that you need to experience yourself to realise that there's some sort of home truth.
Yeah, it's, again, meme coins are a great way of learning quick about that, because your emotions are high because, oh yes, one day you're up 3,000%, and 5 seconds later someone just sold half their bag, so you're down like in the minus. So it's I've been burned so many times on meme coins, and I don't learn my lesson because they are such a dopamine emotion driven hit. You think, no, this is the runner, and 9 times out of 10 it's not, but it's good fun.
What were some of the signs last time out that the bull run was coming to a close that we might be able to watch out for?
I mean, I'm trying to think of particular ones that even me, I guess just your typical ones like your taxi drivers, your barbers, whatever, which is normally what I would say. But as I'm kind of processing and thinking about this right now, everyone's kind of involved in crypto now. Everyone's kind of talking about it.
It's still a little bit more commonplace than it was.
Yeah, so it's harder to say, oh, look out for this. This is the peak. People's spending habits may change, but because we've seen a massive uplift, even the past 12 months, because we've been in some sort of bull market, people's spending habits may have already changed, or they might have caught a meme coin and made 6 figures from that. So it's tough now, and that's why it's super important to have someone like ourselves to just be the kind of voice of reason, or just to check in on you, or whatever it may be, because you're having to deal with it live some of these times. So yeah, I do think, I still strongly believe when you're getting your taxi drivers and your barbers really, really talk about it, or they're, I don't know, maybe they're starting Instagram pages themselves because they think they're ready to go and become an influencer. Maybe that's time to...
You know, it's a bad problem.
Yeah.
I think when one of the times when we spoke at the end of the last bull run was when NFTs were at their peak, and people were buying JPEGs of screenshots of Jack Dorsey's tweet for millions.
Yeah.
that was a sign that there was almost too much liquidity in the market to
Yeah.
get spent on all sorts of stuff that people didn't truly understand at that point. And you guys spoke really well at length on the actual use case of NFTs, but people were buying stuff that nobody could ever think it has value.
It's quick money. It happens to any market. Think of a man or a woman who wins the lottery or inherits a lot of money, whatever it may be. Someone sells their business. It's that quick influx of money. If you're not money or good with money, or you're good at managing money, or you've never had it before, or whatever it may be, that's usually what happens. You see all these lottery winners go bust, and it's very similar to these people who makes, I don't know, millions or hundreds of thousands, whatever. It's all relative to each person, but they make this massive amount of money and they're like, let's buy a picture of a tweet because I can. It's almost like at the time it's a flex because that's the hype. So it's a cool thing to do. But when the curtains close and you're going to your bed, you must be thinking, what have I just done? Because it was like $5 million someone paid for that.
Frightening.
A screenshot of a tweet. It's bizarre. But
what kind of hopium do you think we try and avoid this time? Because that's a term that I think I see a lot of, like the whole like it's going to the moon.
yeah, big events recently, there's a lot of hopium in the sense of like this crypto summit I know I've spoke about already. Things like that, events like that, the presidency, the election, that as much as it was hopium, I guess it kind of proved its point because it did rally from there. But
And we had stuff like the SEC chair changing, which was
yeah,
great. It was like a fundamental
yeah,
change rather than just a narrative.
yeah. So the hopium, I guess it's just to help. Everyone has their own type of or their own definition of it, but it is just to help control your emotions at the end of the day. So I'm a fan of hopium. You have to be like, it's a speculative market, right? So you have to be, you need to be hopeful. It's realistically 95%, as I've mentioned, of it will go to zero. It will disappear. A lot of it is fugazi, but that bit of hopium keeps you
Keeps you interested in the market.
Yeah, it keeps it fun.
Yeah, I just hope that the mania this time round, that the people who've paid attention really do execute on what their plans were.
I hope so too, mate. I really do. And it happened in 2021. We've spoke to hundreds of people for our one-to-ones and thousands of people during Discord and lives and Instagram videos, whatever it may be. You can tell people what they need to do from your experience until you're blue in the face, but not everyone is going to do it, unfortunately, because emotion comes into play. And you can't be mad at that. The main thing is, what I say to people is, drown out the noise of others. So if you're in a group with someone or you've got friends that are in crypto, whatever it may be, but you've had a sit down with someone like ourselves to talk about crypto or someone else, just do what's right for you, because at the end of the day, they're not going to give you any of their profits and vice versa. So yeah, make sure that if you are listening to this and you think, oh no, I know what I'm doing, or my mate's going to help me, or 9 times out of 10 they won't, because they need to deal with their own portfolio, their own emotions, their own kind of struggles. So yeah, I really hope everyone does, and I honestly hope that everyone gets what they want from crypto, because I know what it's like to go up and go down and up and down and win and lose. Been here since 2017. I've lost a lot, won a lot, whatever it may be. So I went through it all, and yeah, I just hope for the best for everyone.
I think you can see that with the content you guys are putting out there, and something that I've always found helpful from CG has been the talk around percentage gains rather than sometimes a particular dollar amount on a coin. So for example, XRP was the coin that you guys fell in love with back in the day and have always banged the drum on, and there were definitely times over the last few years when it was hard to keep doing. So
that has been the hardest thing we've done, I think, because that was very much I think majority of Glasgow are in XRP because of anyone that's followed us obviously has been a part of it.
Remember the number plate as well?
Yeah, in fact, Dex sent me a picture of that recently. Found it when he was looking through some stuff. So yeah, the G1 XRP, the famous plate that was on the first company car. That was, again, it was all just part of the journey. It was amazing. But yes, we're very much the ambassadors almost for XRP, and it was tough, man. I'll be honest, it was very tough too.
Do you know, the price action was one thing, but when they gave money to the Kamala campaign,
oh wow,
that was the closest I came to being like, are you fucking kidding me?
Me too. It's crazy, man. But again, we always bang on about charts. So it's, when you see things like that, and if you are a Trump supporter, you're like, hang on a minute. If you're a Trump supporter and you hold XRP, you're thinking, right, hang on a minute. Like, this is, I don't know what to do now. Like,
it was literally at odds with XRP's best interests for Kamala to get in, because Gensler probably would have stayed and continued to
Yeah,
make things
I don't
terrible.
even want to think what the world would have been like in general. Never mind just XRP.
True.
The world, if that part.
The Western world was heading off a cliff, and we've put the
Yeah.
handbrake on, but we're still sliding.
Yeah, I don't know if we're much better, to be honest, with who we've got. But yeah, let's not get into politics too much because, that's why Dubai is.
Obviously,
Dubai's
a place you
calling.
love. That's a really good point. But with XRP, many people that listen to you guys from the start would have had an average buy of well below $1, probably closer to like 40, 50, 60 cents,
Yeah.
like me. And now, at the time of recording, we're well over $2. We've seen an all-time high of over $3. The fact that it took us since 2018 to get an all-time high
Yeah.
is horrifying.
Yeah.
But also there was market circumstances that meant that XRP was stifled.
That's a problem, and it's always been the problem with XRP or Ripple in general. It's always had that centralized coin, bankers coin, all the nonsense. Cool, like whatever. I don't care too much about, again, the noise or what people say online, because 9 times out of 10 they're Bitcoin maxis, or they're I don't know, Cardano maxis, or they're very loyal to one coin. For me, I'm not particularly loyal to any coin. Obviously, I've got my favourites and ones that I pick and whatnot. For me as an investor, and most people will be the same listening to this, if you're investing in something, you don't care really what it's doing or who it's helping or whatever. See if it's making you a good return on your investment. That's really what matters. So XRP, slightly different because it took so long, right? But again, the overall belief system with that was it's inevitable and it will come. Patience pays with that one. There was just a lot of patience running thin, but we got there.
Of course there was. And the percentage gains on, let's say, 45 cent was one of the figures in recent years that I was looking at my screen thinking, oh my goodness. But then to go over $3 is just incredible returns. You're not getting that from almost any other asset, not even Bitcoin.
Nothing.
So that for me was validation of holding it through the hard times. And while I wasn't making any money during those times, the percentage that I made from XRP during this time, and I continue to hold just for reference, is incredible.
Yeah, and I believe, the way I've felt as well, and maybe you'll be the same, but holding XRP for such a long time, whilst also in and out of other things and short term, whatever, I feel like XRP is like programmed me for patience space. Like, because I've had no choice, because I'm not going to sell it, because I'm like, no doubt you'll sell it and it'll go to whatever, right? And that tends to happen. So I almost feel like that's been a massive part of me personally, my journey in crypto in general, or managing a portfolio, because I'm like, how do I keep holding on to this coin that's essentially a non-performer? It was sitting at 40, 50 cents for I don't know how long, but you always know that when it does move, it does the crazy 400, 500, 600% moves in a few days. So yeah, it was a tough one, but I do strongly believe that it was fundamental to a lot of people's journey. Maybe people won't think about this until I've said it now, but when you think about how long you've held on to that.
I sent you and Declan, one of our WhatsApp group chats, some of the screenshots of people messaging me saying, I listened to the guys from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023 when they're on the pod. We've basically done one every year at least. And they were like, oh, I'm now miles up on XRP because I understood why I bought XRP. Whereas I do think some people have bought coins with no idea and then they've probably been shaken out. But you spoke about the actual virtues of that particular coin. And again, the whole bankers coin piece I think is really funny because we're not going to go from fiat one day to Bitcoin the next. There's going to be some sort of transfer. Whether it's Bitcoin we do end up on, I think it may be quite likely, but it's very, very clear that there's going to be other functions for utility coins like XRP rather than just being like this, fiat's gone, we're now using crypto. Yeah,
and again, you even get some crypto like diehards that speak like that as well, and I think they're crazy. Like they are very much, that's it, it's going from paper money or money that we know it now to crypto, that's it, there's no in between. I just let those people kind of have their day and have their conversation and just move on. But yeah, I'm
there's
the same
a lot
as
of
you.
cleverer people than me debating this topic, but I just think from a first principles perspective, it's very difficult to see how something like XRP couldn't play a role in what's going to come.
100%. That's what it's set out to do. Like it's set out to replicate what SWIFT does, which is the kind of backbone of cross-border payments. So I get it.
But SWIFT is terrible, slow and costly, whereas XRP is instant.
The thing with that though is you think of the people that are involved in SWIFT and who's getting paid from that. This is the biggest thing as well, and people obviously don't think the same way as others do, but there's a reason why SWIFT is so expensive and why there's so many middlemen, and everything, bear in mind, everything in this world is a business, and who can get the most money and who can help who, and the rich help the rich and whatnot. And it's not any different. And it's almost why crypto's been that naysay, why it's always had a bad name, because not a lot of people can make money from it in terms of middlemen unless they're holding it on balance sheets or governments are holding it or whatever, which again is something that I think
It's happening more of.
And I think that might be the catalyst over the next few weeks and months, by the way, for the thing I mentioned earlier of we need something to come from Bitcoin. I think what they might do now is, as soon as Trump, if he does do what I think he's going to do, is announce the official reserve or whatever it may be for Bitcoin, that then gives the green light to essentially every other country in the world that's pro-crypto or even wants to get involved, because the US, most powerful kind of country in the world, right? Trump, most powerful and outspoken man, and in my opinion, one of the smartest men. If he is going for it, he's putting it on the balance sheet or whatever he's doing with Bitcoin, the fact that he's doing it, that paves the way for most countries. So I do strongly believe that over the next few weeks, months, whatever it may be, the pivot we're going to see now is your countries, whether they're doing a reserve or they're buying it or they're accepting it. We've already seen like El Salvador and stuff do it, but they're not big enough. And
El Salvador's got a lot of things right. You see what they've done for the prison system as well.
It's insane. I mean, again, the problem being is they're doing all these great things, but see, because they're Bitcoin or they're crypto fans, they seem to get a little bit of hush, a little bit of kind of
censorship almost.
Yeah, a little bit, until I believe when Trump kind of allows it to. And that's because he done it under the Biden administration when crypto was like, no one wanted it. Gary Gensler tried to essentially just get rid of it, like, to a degree. So I do strongly believe that's why they've been kind of pushed to the side. But you'll start to see the benefits of what they've been doing or building the past 2-3 years when, again, Trump, the US, bigger countries are like, do you know what, let's do it.
I really hope so. I got asked about crypto on a solo pod recently, and I said the phrase, America sneezes, the world catches a cold. And that's what's going to happen here. America's going to do a big crypto Bitcoin sneeze, and hopefully the rest of the world's going to catch on. Although I got the fear when I saw this the other day, and hopefully it's not true, but it could well be. But the UK, with all the proceeds of crime Bitcoin that they've seized, they were like, oh, we're going to sell it because it's worth billions. And I'm thinking, we should be sitting on that for as long as possible. Treat it like gold. Whereas Gordon Brown actually famously sold off our gold at a record low price. Right. But if we sell off our Bitcoin at like 90k per Bitcoin, I'll be fuming as well.
Well, it's funny you say that, right? So just to dive into a little bit of this, the reserve and what the reserve is, right? So it's been announced publicly that they're doing XRP, which is amazing because they mentioned XRP first, which is, again, for an XRP fanboy, it's hilarious. Cardano,
big W.
Yeah, big time. Cardano and Solana. They're also doing Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's the kind of what they've come out with so far. But as I mentioned, I do believe they'll really go kind of strong with Bitcoin. Now, with the point you were making there that the UK have seized and whatnot, and they're going to sell it off. So I was reading this recently, I think it was yesterday or today. The US government have obviously seized lots over the years. They've sold so far something like 195,000 Bitcoin. They sold it off. They just sell it whenever. They never held it, right? They sold it off for a value of 33 million, thereabouts. It's now worth 17 billion. So that's the talking point of the US Bitcoin reserve. It's Trump's like, well, if we had just held that, the country could have had an additional $17 billion.
That starts to wipe out the debt. It starts to fuel growth. It starts to allow them to reduce taxes and basically get all the things that we want in a functioning country.
Exactly. And that's the whole point of the reserve. So people are asking, why do we need crypto in a reserve? Well, the point's just been proven. Like, they've got more than that. They sold 195,000, but they've got a lot more. I don't know the numbers. The government hold a lot. And that's where, again, I believe, no one really knows this yet until it's confirmed, right? But the speculation is that's how they're going to fund this reserve. That's how they're going to kickstart it. Rather than the government selling off what they've got, like the UK, or, I mean, it's such a UK thing to do. It's brain dead. But maybe when the US say this, the UK will change their mind. Hopefully, I really hope so for the
maybe
UK's
not with
fault.
the Labour government. Who
yeah,
knows?
I know. But yeah, so they're going to announce this is where the money's coming from, and then maybe they'll sell some off to then fund buying XRP, buying Cardano, buying something, and that's where the money will come from. But it's all from these recovered or stolen, whatever you want to look at,
wallets or ledgers.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting, and I think it's funny that the UK's got an accidental exposure to it, and a phrase that maybe older people use, like you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. If you've got a gift, let's take advantage of it. Let's not shun it.
Well, London and the UK famously have said they want to be like European kind of the place, the hotspot for crypto. I don't know if it's just buzzwords.
I'd like them to treat it like it rather than the way they do.
I think it's just buzzwords, to be honest. Again, the UK, man, I don't want to talk too much about the UK, but let's just see what happens. It's, again, hopefully patience based.
But contrast that to a place that you and Decas just now spend a lot of time in Dubai. That is a genuine crypto hub because people are encouraged there to come there with their crypto, to spend it, to interact with the market, whether it's the property market, whether it's cars, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's credit cards and bank cards. That is a beacon of what integrating crypto in society could look like in stark contrast to what we're doing here. Yeah,
the thing with that is people instantly think Dubai is the mecca, should we say, of crypto, and they're pro-crypto. Yes and no. So the still majority of banks aren't still fully behind it. It's not had 100% regulatory kind of passing and whatnot. So the government are aware of it. They used to, I know EMAR used to accept crypto, but I think they had a bit of an issue at one point, so now they don't anymore. So it's still a very, not a grey area, but it's still a very he say, she say. So depends who you speak to. There's obviously ways, there's people in Dubai and whatnot. So there's ways to do all of it. You can still buy property, you can still buy cars, buy watches, whatever you want. There's always someone somewhere that can help you with facilitating that in Dubai. But like I said, the government aren't like fully welcoming everything crypto related. What they are welcoming is people who are bringing change or the future or planning ahead, and that's the whole point of Dubai.
Innovation.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an innovation tech hub. That's what they are, and that's kind of the part where crypto is, a technology. It's innovation. So that's why it's such a hot spot. Plus, it's 0% capital gains tax. We famously know that anywhere else, crypto is taxed with capital gains. So that's why you're seeing a lot of the crypto guys being based out there, because it's a tax haven to an extent, because the country doesn't need the money from that to benefit its people or its
That's
tourists.
a great point, and thanks for clarifying that. It's not that Dubai is massively pro-crypto right now, it's that the environment for crypto in the future is likely to be better because it's technologically advanced and supportive, and it's not going to steal 20 to 24% of your crypto gains.
Yeah, Dubai is just the city of the future. You speak to anyone that's successful, or 9 times out of 10, maybe you'll still get these guys who are quite happily just whatever country they're in. I get that. Not everyone loves moving countries or moving to Dubai and whatnot, but I strongly believe that if you are a successful and you're able to, you should give it a try, or you should at least have a setup there. There's ways of living in your own country, wherever that is, but also having a setup to benefit from some of these benefits that Dubai brings. And it also means that in 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be, when Dubai is like, I don't know, maybe shut for new people to come, I don't know how it's going to go, because it's a mass influx of successful people, money and whatnot. So you've already got that set up there and you can benefit either way. So yeah.
I think you can see that you and Deck have been forward planning in that regard, and a lot of the people that you associate with too.
It only makes sense. Again, if you're successful to a degree, whichever number that is, whatever number you put on that success. I was speaking to someone recently, in fact, when we were in the gym, speaking to someone, and he's like, I only make this much though, and I only do this. And I'm like, perfect. You're already you should have been doing this 2 years ago. So there's never a right time, never a wrong time. It's just when you feel right. And I think the problem being is people don't quite understand how to make it possible, or if it is possible. But yeah, like I said, it's more about what Dubai are, or what they have been doing, but what they're also planning for. And yeah, everyone's in Dubai. Like, it's
trajectory of places is really important. And again, to talk about the solo pods, a lot of the questions are you not considering moving to Dubai full time? And the energy in particular places is different. So the energy in Dubai at the moment is very much on an upward trajectory, whereas at the moment in the UK, I feel like we're kind of treading water to down. Just try and stay still.
I honestly think the UK has been in a downward spiral for multiple years, like probably since 2020, 2021, when we all know what happened during those periods, and how the government were saying one thing but then another thing the next week. And I think people started to kind of get on board with, hang on a minute, what's actually going on in this country? And yeah, I truly believe that there's no real going back now. I do think that the UK is just, it's not over, right? The UK is still lovely.
It's
still,
in managed decline for large areas. Like we were speaking again the other night, like we've both built lifestyles in and around Glasgow when we're here that have like lots of positives, but you have to work really hard for that to be the case. Whereas 15, 20 years ago, you didn't have to have even half the income that we're talking about to be able to live the sort of lifestyle that we're living, because the currency's been inflated out of all value.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
And the actual cost of living and the actual quality and safety of our environment that's been put upon us.
And it, like I said, I love Scotland, like love the UK in general, but it's just unfortunately when it's governed by certain people and there's certain rules and whatnot, and it's even worse when you are kind of primarily in Dubai or countries like Dubai, not always Dubai, but even some countries in Europe were obviously like Switzerland. I'm a big fan of Switzerland. And
you guys did your car tour there?
That was again, so we ended up spending more time in Switzerland than we thought, just because we knew we loved it and whatnot, but the tour took a little bit longer because of Switzerland's just fantastic. So yes, Switzerland and Dubai, when you compare places like that you love to where you are from or where you're brought up and potentially living in, it's hard to see the positives as much. Obviously the positives are still their family and whatnot, right? And it's what you know, your friends and whatever. But yeah, when you are exposed to the likes of other countries and other kind of experiences, I can see why people are upset in this country and why the mentality is the way it is, the safety the way it is, and whatever it may be. But move, like it's super easy,
and that's been a big thing that you've decided to do as well.
100%. Like, it was always part of the plan. You knew that as well. It was always part of the plan. Being in our industry, crypto being Dubai being the kind of land of the free, as I like to call it, where all the crypto guys went. Everyone that we knew in the space, everyone was moving there. So it was almost...
Swissburger there as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, everyone moves there for the reasons I've already said, plus more. It's a lovely, lovely place now. People still, I think about it like 5 Palm and whatnot, and it's just basically Little Britain. I've never been, but I've seen on Instagram what it looks like at 5 Palm and that whole area. I don't go anywhere near there. I don't even go to GBR. I don't go to the tourist hotspots. I've done it all. I've been there, done that, been so many times, and I've done the marina, I've done GBR, whatever. Great for what it is. It's the kind of holiday vibes. But when we go there, we live there, so we're inland. We're not kind of.
You've got a bit more nature as well.
100%. Yeah, and it doesn't feel quite like Dubai. I don't know what it feels like. It just feels like this new place. But yeah, it's phenomenal.
If we've got, as you're predicting, a short run left of this bull run, what are some of the strategies and approaches you would encourage people to take in the next few weeks and months?
Well, first and foremost is maybe have a sit down with yourself and just analyse your portfolio. People don't do that enough. They'll see it go up and down most days, but they won't really sit down. And what we do in one-to-ones and what we have done in one-to-ones is we basically throw up everyone's portfolio, their portfolio on a big whiteboard. So they've never seen it laid out like that before. So they're a bit shocked when they're like, all right, I've either got more or I've got less or I'm imbalanced or whatever. So I always recommend people to do that. Have a sit down, couple hours out your day, whatever it is, and just write out your portfolio on a big piece of paper, a whiteboard if you've got it, and just write it out. So the coin, like XRP for example, how many you've got of that coin, the current value, and if you can, the average buy price as well. So that's kind of the main four. And just do it for your whole portfolio. Whether you've got 20 coins, you've got 120 coins, it will be a bit of a process, a journey. But that's, again, how over the next few weeks you can kind of program yourself and maybe give yourself a bit of a reality check as well to see where you're at.
And it's agreeing what good would look like within those coins that might be a point where you would choose to take profit, or you would choose to take some off the table, or you would choose to hold as well, because it's quite possible in that regard. And I think that's something that people sometimes talk themselves out when the hopium comes around strong, that, oh, my target previously for XRP was 400% increase or it going to $4, but then it reaches there and you think, no, it's going to go higher still is the kind of meme, isn't it?
That's the classic move. And look, I still feel like that sometimes. Like even with XRP getting to like 338, I think it was, or 331 there or thereabouts, I took a little bit off the table. But I'm like, but it might this might be it. This might be the run. So even I do that. It's human emotion to, especially in crypto, because you're so up and down and up and down. It's hard not to be like that, and it's hard to be a brick wall and just be like, no, that's
so
the
hard
cut-off
to
point.
pull the trigger, isn't it?
Pull the trigger is the key word. And look, you'll do it for some of your coins, but not all of your coins. And this is what people need to realize as well. You look at your portfolio, right? You've put in, say, 100k. You look at it and go, I can get 2 mil from that. On paper, yeah, you probably could. But as I say to people on one-to-ones, it's like, you might end up with, I don't know, say 800k. Still a phenomenal amount of money to make from a 100k investment, right? But
no
then,
other asset classes doing that, bro.
Nothing.
What about property done?
Let's not. Yeah, nothing else will do that. But the problem being is you'll still get bugged out because you'll be like, well, on paper I could have made 2 million and I've only made 800k. So again, obviously these numbers can be switched around, whatever suits your needs, right? But the way you need to look at it is you've made a £700,000 or dollar profit from some online cryptocurrency that you know nothing about and you've never seen before in your life. So I think a big thing for people is, like I said, write it all out. Set expectations, of course. You have to set expectations. You need to know what to expect over the next few weeks or months, whatever it may be, and what you would like to take from crypto. Maybe that's the key word, is what would you like to take from crypto, or what do you need to take from crypto? Because they could be two different numbers. And no one's going to be perfect. No one's going to lock it in. People could spend 2-3 hours writing out every single bit of their plan. You're not going to, I mean, if you do, I mean,
hats off to you.
Yeah, congratulations. I couldn't do it. I'll be good at it, and I've been good at it in the past, but human emotion's a thing. Like, you forget that everyone's different. Everyone has their own emotions, their own cycles up and down. So, yeah, and it could be, it happens at 2 in, so you're having to wake up, or it could be you're at work, or it could be you're in the gym, you could be driving. Like, there's so many different points, see, because it can happen, well, I say randomly, it can happen fairly randomly in terms of what time it can happen at. So you could be doing anything. So that then drives another type of emotion, because then are you stressed, are you busy, are you on the phone, and then you're getting flustered. So all those things then will obviously have an impact on your decision making. And the problem being is, you've got this number written out, I want to make 250% gain from my average buy price. But if that comes around and you're flustered and you've got something going on and whatever it is, the dog's barking.
There's a distraction.
It's hard to then pull that trigger. Or if you don't pull the trigger, you go, like you said before, but it might go higher. And it probably will go higher. And I hope it goes higher, because your plan should be that you've got multiple, obviously, percentage gains in the way up. But you need to lock it in. The way it works, right, is you've got 100 grand invested. You don't have the money. The market has the money, right? So the market goes to zero tomorrow. You've not got any investment left. Even if the market takes that money to 1 million and you're not taking any profits, you don't have any money. You have zero. So your portfolio is at zero, essentially. On a screen, it shows 1 million, right? You hold zero. So until you have taken something, you've got nothing.
I think that's an important reminder. And I think one of the phrases you said to me when we were getting organised for this was making sure that people have a bit of a warning, to make sure they take advantage of these good times. That's
probably my biggest point that I want to make on this particular podcast, because of the time that we're at. This is a warning. Basically, it's yes, times are great. They're a bit all over the place just now, right? But like I said before, we're cruising at 90k. That's fantastic. There's a crypto summit in the White House. Everything's very, very net positive for crypto right now. But this will be the very shortest period. And when you look back at previous markets, they only last, well, like the parabolic run only lasts for 4 weeks, maybe, there or thereabouts, weeks to a couple of months. So, but you don't know that until you look back. So the whole point of this warning that I'm trying to give everyone is the end is near. The end is in sight. It's hard to think like that when everyone's just getting positive, everyone's just getting involved, Trump's just come into power, whatever it may be, there's still another 4 years of his term. Fantastic. That doesn't mean that prices need to go up for 4 years, unfortunately. Charts tell you what's going to happen, and fortunately, we've had a great 12 months. We've had a great 4 years, to be honest. Like, the market's been up and down, so there's plenty of opportunity there. But the warning is, when it gets really good, that's when you know it's getting really bad. Basically, it's the end.
It could be around the corner.
Quite literally, it could be weeks away at this point. I've said to a few people in my close circle, and even a few of the members as well, is I think by the end of quarter one, So basically the end of this month, which is March, we could see the end, or the end could be near. Because what we tend to find is, if you look back at previous kind of runs, April, May is usually a kind of peak or the very, very end point. So not all coins go at the same time, as we know, right? So you'll tend to find Bitcoin run first, then Ethereum, then the altcoins, but different ones at different points. So XRP, for example, could peak end of this month, right? That's just an example, by the way, for anyone listening. It could be the end of the month, but Cardano, for example, might peak at the end of May. So you don't know fully, and that's why if you do have 10, 20, 30, 40 different coins, you need to make sure that over the next few weeks, you've got some sort of plan in place of your profits, whether that's, the way I like to look at it, is maybe like 200% from your average buy price, 250%, 300%, 350%, whatever that number is. So average buy price times 250%, whatever that number is your target. Not what everyone else's target is, it's what your target is, because it's your money, your investment, blah, blah, blah.
Because you bought at different prices.
Exactly.
Somebody could be sitting there having bought XRP at $1 and it being at 2.4 just now.
Exactly.
Is good, but it's better because I bought it at 50 cent.
Unfortunately, it's not one size fits all with crypto. That's another thing where people get maybe confused about, because they're like, well, we're looking at $7 and $10 and whatever it is for these targets. It's like, yeah, that's my targets, and that's where the overall price can get to. But if you, like you say, if you invested at $1, $2, that's not a massive gain. So is your money better off somewhere else where you can get a higher percentage return, whatever it may be? So yeah, it's not one size fits all, and that's why portfolio management and looking over and speaking to someone or just writing it all out. I've given enough kind of tips in this podcast for someone to really do it themselves to a degree. And it's, yeah, it needs to be done. If you don't have a plan, you're going to fail. I don't care who you are or what you've done in the past or how good you are at pressing that sell button. You need to be better than the next guy. And without a plan, I do worry for people that don't have some sort of plan, because they will fail 100%.
Yeah, the emotions will get in the way and the narrative will trick you to keep holding. And I definitely learned that last time round. For Bitcoin in particular, I'm less inclined to sell potentially at all. But for all my alts, I have a very clear actual dollar target, which is worked out from the percentage gain that I've made.
Even that conversation around not wanting to ever sell Bitcoin, see, unless you've bought it for less than 20k, why do people marry the bag other than the fact that I bought it? Because you think about it, I actually spoke to someone recently, so they had bought 10 and it had gained a lot of money. I think they paid 100k for it and it was worth $1 million, right? He just wanted to hold it forever, which is fine because that particular person, it was a side investment. It wasn't the main thing. But if you're an investor who's trying to gain as much exposure as possible and trying to make as much money as possible, then you really should be selling that, buying it back, selling that, buying it back in a longer play. So it could be buying Bitcoin, holding it for 3 years, making a 3-4x return on it because that's solid gains, or even a 10x, whatever it may be. But why would you hold it when you know inevitably it's going to go down 80-90%?
The math says we're going to get another dip.
It'll come back, but it's just, yeah, so everyone's different and I can't advise. I'm not an advisor and nothing is.
That's a really good point though, and I did see that with XRP when a lot of people, and this was summer 23 when we had some good news about the SEC case, it went to like 83 cent. A lot of people sold out, and then when it inevitably went back down, they basically accumulated more coins. Yep. And that's an approach you can take to any asset.
Same with Bitcoin, like I said, and that tends to be the one that people speak most about. Like, I'm never selling it, and I get that. And as long as you're still covered elsewhere to make the gains and really, really benefit from crypto, then fair enough, do it. But if you're like 80-20 and like 80% in Bitcoin and 20% in altcoins and you've got that mentality, again, I'm not here to... It's
less likely to make the big percentage numbers. I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah, that's true. I guess when I'm just considering my average buy for Bitcoin, I'm very happy with what that looks like. Yeah. But if I could certainly time it that if I sold it at 100k and then I could buy back in for closer to 25, 30 or something like that, then I would be laughing because then I'm using all that capital to just go again.
Yeah, and it's how the rich get richer. Like, these guys are doing it. That's why you're seeing a lot of this manipulation, and not just the crypto market, but in general stock market. It's for the big players. So they're buying it, it's pumping up, they're selling it, then they'll short it, put out bad news, and then they'll buy it back when it's lower. It's like, it's rinse and repeat. So it's not like the big guys aren't doing it, so why can't a little fish like us do it? So again, it's a strategy, and not everyone has a full time, has their full time to put on it and what. I get it. Everyone's different circumstances, but that's just something that maybe if you are in that position, that's what you could do, because I mean, you're an investor. Buy low, sell high, rinse, repeat. It's pretty straightforward when you look at it like that. But
I'm on board. You guys bring some good logic, and it's good. I like when you challenge me as well. Post bull run, let's hope everyone listening's taking big profits. They're really pleased with what they've accumulated. What are some of the strategies and focuses that you guys are looking at for wealth preservation and growth of wealth too?
So yeah, we've been involved in something which I'll touch on in more detail, but the main point, again, I want to really reiterate this before we move on a wee bit from crypto, is the end is near. Please make sure that you do sell when you have to sell and make that profit, and not on paper, but I mean in your wallet, your crypto wallet, your Swissborg app, whatever it is. Please make sure you actually take that profit. Then the conversation we have is how to make that money, make more money when the market of crypto is down for a few years.
And that's going to come. And I think that's what's really valuable. I think if anyone listens to this that's been through a cycle, or this is your first cycle, this does not last forever. Somebody in 6 months, 8 months, it could be 10 months time, will be telling you what a piece of shit you've bought, and you'll be left sitting there, and people will be questioning everything you've ever done. And then the same people 3 years after that will be saying to you, hi mate, how does this Swissborg app work?
Yeah.
Do you mind if you send me a referral for it?
Exactly. So it's same rules apply. We see it every couple of years, but yeah, that's the point I wanted to make again, because it's really, really important. I want to just be on record telling people, make sure you sell. Like, don't be scared to sell, because it doesn't last forever. But yeah, in terms of what's next, shall we say, we've been involved, and I've spoke to you about this before, and it's not crypto, first of all. So we do offer it to clients at the moment, and we have done previously, for the past 12 months. The product itself has been going for 3+ years, but we get involved 12 months ago through a mutual friend and a client of ours, and then me and Deck kind of help a little bit more and bring a lot of our clients to it. So essentially what it is, it's at the moment, alternative investment to crypto, but when crypto's kind of done for a few years, it'll be the main investment for a lot of people and a lot of clients. Essentially, it's a algorithmic bot that's been built. So it trades Euro USD. That's it. Just looks for volume. It's nothing fancy. It trades that on a daily basis if the volume's there, basically. It's not every single day. But over the course of a month, it produces a kind of slow and steady gain. So every single month, on average, it'll produce the exact same number. And it's just a very, very low risk strategy. So for example, you could stick 100 grand of your profits in there, and over the course of a year, you'll make, we base it off of, I can give some numbers, around 3 or 4% per month on average. All right, it can change and whatnot.
Well, it's just underline per month, because I remember we spoke about it in front of somebody, and they were like, oh, like 4% per year, like that's quite a good savings account. And you were like, no, it's like 4% a month.
Yeah.
And they were like, hold on, let me just run that. And that is the difference between putting it in some sort of interest account and actually putting it into a market, albeit it's not the crypto market, but it's another market where it's being traded. Yeah,
100%. And I'm glad you brought that up, because to me that's normal, but when people hear it, they automatically assume it's per year, because that's probably the going rate for most things, for bonds and ISAs and whatnot. It's there or thereabouts. But this product can quite factually be proven to do 3-4% on average every single month, and it has done for 3+ years. So yeah, it's hard for some people when they first hear it, because they're like, nah, doesn't work, too good to be true, the same old that you hear. But when you've got the full track record and all the evidence,
and it's algorithmic as well, which is helpful.
Yeah, so essentially the way it works is the guy behind it, computer scientist, ex-JP Morgan, like this brainiac, he is the brains behind the whole bot itself. It's AI, but it's still controlled. It's an AI hybrid bot, but it's still overall controlled by a professional trader as well. So the bot essentially looks to scope out positions that maybe you or I or a professional trader wouldn't get because of emotion. Whereas it will scope them out, it will get the trades, but then the trader can also look to pick out trades that the bot might not pick up on. So it's almost like you're playing both sides, because you've got a professional trader that does it day in, day out for a living, picking trades out. And then you've got a bot that's also sniping if he's missing one, or if it's overnight, or whatever it may be, if it's early in the morning. So yeah, it's For me, it's an absolute no-brainer. A lot of our clients have transitioned from property, our favourite topic to talk about. They've positioned themselves from property into this because it's 100% hands-off. You don't do any work. You still are in full control of the money. So, for example, you get the account set up with IC Markets. Some people might have heard of that. Largest broker in the world, right? You set your account up. You fund your account with your money. You hold your money. You can take it out when you want. The team just access your account so that it kind of mimics what they do, and that's how it works. That's a real kind of the
Nuts
easy
and
way.
bolts.
Yeah, that's nuts and bolts of it. Obviously, I can go into more detail, but people's heads will probably fall off.
I think for me, when we were speaking about it, it's the diversification piece. So I've told you offline before, and I think you've maybe met Julian, but I looked at doing some whiskey during the last bear market as well. I've got some stocks and shares still that do bits and pieces with the S&P 500, but it's important to have an awareness of other ways that when one market's struggling, you're getting yourself an exposure to another one. And the more options you have, I'm a big fan of narrow but deep, but also you would be silly to just plow a lone furrow and only do one thing.
100%. And that's why we have offered it to clients for the past 12 months, whether it's they've taken a little bit of profit that they've made that year or whatever it is, or if it's just guys or women who have side incomes. Like I said, the property, we've spoke to a lot of people in property recently who have sold some property or are planning to sell it to pivot to this product. Because again, when I say it's hands off, it's completely hands off. You do nothing other than take your profit every month. So yeah, it's completely hands off. You do nothing. You can speak to the team whenever you want. If you want to ask questions, there's nothing to ask. It just generates income every single month. So there's really no questions. It's a bit of a no-brainer. But yeah, like you said, you need to know what to pivot to. And we've done that very, very well for a long period now, not just the past 12 months with this. Me and Dec have always known what to chase and what not to chase and what to focus, like you're saying, something narrow but deep. Have a few fingers and a few pies, but if you're going to do it, make sure you've got kind of capital behind it so that you...
Well, money
you
makes
benefit.
money as well, and that's something that the first person that really hit that lesson home to me, I interviewed a guy called Nick Maggiulli on the podcast back in 2022. He had a book called Just Keep Buying, and it was like the top finance book at the time. He was quite a coup for the podcast to get him on, and he was laughing that people will have like £400 or £500 a month they're investing into the market, and that's great to get started. Like, well done, you've managed to get that off your day job, after your mortgage, after your car, all that stuff. But that's £6,000 a year. If you're getting like 10-15% in the market from that, that's like 600 quid. You can make 600 quid like to picking up another couple extra shifts at work or whatever it is. So people get that wrong quite a lot. So it's really important that when you do make the weight of profit from the crypto market, or you make the weight of profit from whatever you've invested in, you keep increasing that amount that goes into the market, because money makes money at the end of the day.
100%. And I think it's the way people are programmed and the way we've all been taught about finance and whatnot, and savings and earning and whatnot. So I don't automatically blame people for not getting on board with these types of things, or if they do fall for the ISAs and you fall for, I don't even know the scams that they've got just now, the government. But I was in the sauna recently and I heard a few guys chatting, and if you got this ISA, and I'm just like, yeah, that's just, I get it, it makes money, right? At the end of the day, it's still making money, so you can't be
It's below inflation more often.
Well,
than that,
yeah, 9 times out of 10. As long as the outcome is income, is what I say, right? But when you know the strategies, or there's people, or there's products like that I've just mentioned, that again, there's a track record of 3+ years. It's not like it's just this new product that's just came onto the market. When there's a proven track record, there's millions of pounds already in this kind of holding that's generating money every single day, or there or thereabouts if the market's there. Why would you not want to be involved in that? So other than the fact that maybe your friend, oh no, get an ISA, it's safer, or get a product from the bank, it's safer, I would say it's probably less safe, because you're not in control of the money. Whereas with the product that I've mentioned, you're in control of the money. Okay, IC Markets hold the funds, they're the broker, but there's a reason why we use IC Markets as the largest and most trusted.
Most credible.
Exactly. So the chances of anything like that happening are very, very minimal. And like I said, you're still in control of the funds. It's not like the person controlling the bot can steal your money and run away. It's you have the money. If you don't fancy it anymore, you need the money out, cool, take it out. It's within your account in 24 hours.
Whereas ISAs are quite hard to get your cash out, believe
exactly.
me.
Oh,
or
no,
you get penalised.
That's right, they charge
Lose
you.
your percentage.
Exactly. So you end up losing more than what you were going to get anyway. So yeah, so is it safer? Probably not. But look, I'm not a financial advisor. I never have claimed to be. I almost did when I left my last job before I got into crypto. I'm glad I never. I just know how to make money. I just know how money makes money. I know how to pivot to things with proven track records. Obviously, this is a product that we knocked back essentially for about a year because we're like, nah, crypto gains are hundreds of %. We're not interested in 3% a month. Why would we be? And that's maybe what someone listening to this is thinking. No, I'm in crypto. I can get 100% or 1,000%. Why would I bother getting 3% a month? Well, if you've made 100 grand, that's 3 grand a month. That's more than most people's full-time wages, as far as I believe.
Post-tax, yeah.
So it's a bit of a no-brainer if you've made that. I mean, look, that's when you make the money and when you secure the money. Or if anyone's listening to this who has, like I said, a property they've sold and don't know what to do with it, or they're wanting to pivot to something else, or they have just side money sitting on the side for a rainy day that never comes around, or they were planning on an ISA or whatever it may be, it's a product to put in front of people. All the documentation's there, all the proofs are there, you can meet the team, you can speak to the team, everything's completely transparent, completely legit. It's just a great product, and it speaks for itself. But yeah, people in crypto tend to turn their nose up because the gains aren't as much.
No, of course,
whatnot.
and you guys are massively enthusiastic about crypto, but you're not shut off to all other opportunities, and that's why it makes sense that you've explored another avenue that's not purely just Bitcoin, Ethereum, Borg, etc.
The biggest thing for me is I enjoy having the free life that I've got, and freedom is key. We've spoken about it a few times on the podcast. Like, how do you create freedom? Well, you unfortunately or fortunately, you need to make money. You can't really work 9 to 5 so there's things you need to do, and that's stuff that we've always again pivoted towards because I enjoy my free. I wake up and do whatever I want whenever I want, and that's something that most people could only dream of. It's what I could only dream of, and I managed to achieve it. How did I achieve it? By taking the risk, crypto being the main one, right? Let's not joke. But when crypto is really, really bad for 2 years, which it does, it's great for a few years, really bad for a few years, what do you do in that period? You need to continue to make money. It's why you can never just shut up shop unless you make hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Fair enough.
You can sit on it, yeah, true.
But even then,
it's eroding.
But even then, look at your billionaires. Why are they billionaires? And why do they continue? Why does Elon Musk continue to work? Why do these guys continue to work? Because billionaires or millionaires or anyone that's made any money, it's then becomes a game because money makes money. It's a lot easier to make 100 million when you've got 100 million. So it's my mate's got 100 million, so I want to make 200 million. It's a game. So it's actually again another net positive to try and make as much money as possible and then continue to make as much money as possible. Not make $1 million and go, cool, that's me, I'm done, because that $1 million will go very fast from inflation and spending it on silly things, and everyone will do it. But when you're pivoting that money to elsewhere and it's money makes money and continues to do that, compound interest essentially, your money, then with a product like that or even whatever you find yourself doing, you need to. You've
got to keep building in this bear market, which is coming around the corner.
Even in the bull market, you need to be making money every other week in the bull market. You should be taking a little bit of profit here and maybe rotating it to something else. You should be doing that. You should be taking the opportunities because it's not going to last forever, and that money gets spent quicker than it's earned sometimes.
Agreed. I think that's been one of the big messages from today, making sure that people take advantage when the times are good. And you'll laugh, but I was in Manchester at a birthday at the weekend, and somebody asked me about crypto because they'd heard the podcast and they'd listened to episode 40, which is from October 2020, and we were talking about the pricing then and how low it was, and he was asking me like, how does this work? And like, I understand, and I think the episode we titled it why Bitcoin or something like that. And people are becoming aware of it at different times in their life. And this episode, maybe somebody's listening to this in 2026 or 2027, they're trying to understand a bit more. The investment lessons and the principles behind what we're talking about are timeless, but this is a timely warning for when you listen to it right now. The principles are valid whenever you're listening, but right now there is a level of sensitivity to it.
100%. The same message we've always said, patience pays in the crypto market, and it will test you a lot of the times, but the main thing is it's a long-term game overall. The short-term gains are there, and you need to work for those short-term gains in terms of making the life-changing money in 12 months or even overnight sometimes. That can happen. But yeah, realistically, you want to kind of plan for the longer term, and whether you're listening this, like you said, in the next year or next 5 years from now, the same rule applies. Patience pays. Don't get too cocky, shall we say, in crypto and in any investment market really. And yeah, enjoy the journey.
It's been a really cool journey, Ron, and I've enjoyed this conversation again, having you back on the pod. If people want to continue the conversation, where should they head towards?
Of course, Crypto Glasgow, just searches. Most people will listen to us, will follow us. If you don't, Crypto Glasgow on X and on Instagram. But of course, you can now follow Delta as well. So we've got two, but you can follow.
All three will be linked in the show. It's Instagram for CG, Instagram for Delta, and Twitter for
CG as well.
For CG as well.
Yeah, we're bigger on Instagram. We always have been, which is the strangest thing, because people tend to go elsewhere, YouTube and X, but we've always stayed true to our roots. So yeah, you'll find all of the pages. Of course, link them below for us.
Beautiful stuff, Don. Thank you very much. And thank you to the listener. I'll be back to speak to you all again very, very soon.